Going out of the car and Casey just texted and said she's 1 minute away.
And Sam was just here for another meeting we were at and he went public. And Sam will join, he's online now.
Oh, okay.
Hey, how's it going?
Sam,
Hi, Sam.
Hey.
there's our oranges if people are packaging.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
The only board that brings snacks.
I brought snacks too.
Nice, with a bow nonetheless.
Like
End of year celebration snacks.
CT, oh my gosh, so
You
nice
know,
to
like,
put a face
when
to
you're-
a name.
Yeah, I was out last month too, so.
Okay, well, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Should do that. like every-
Are you up here in Ned?
Not at all.
Great.
And it could be simple as a
Awesome.
Yep, for the
bag
last
of oranges
7
or a
years,
box of chips.
7.5 years. I was with my husband and 2 babies.
All right.
Yeah, what about you?
I live up on Sunnyside with my wife and son. He's, 18 months old.
First you try to like go in hard.
Congrats.
Nice.
What a wild time.
He's had a,
Like, by then, I can't talk like.
very nice, both the essential figures. He's had a recent talking explosion, which has been fun. So he's been like saying like moon, and dog, cat,
You know which one you got, Nikki?
it's pretty great.
You were just starting my
I haven't actually
favorite
had time
age.
to look
Yeah.
at them.
18 months to like
Chocolate mousse.
2.5, 3.
Good.
It is an explosion. It feels
It
like
is.
every week
Okay,
of like newness and
sorry, it's
It's
kind
been
of.
exciting. It's been very exciting.
I believe it.
Those are really smooth chocolate, very smooth. And now it's not.
All right. Good snacks.
CT.
Yes.
And I'm Kate. I don't think I've met you yet either in person.
In December.
Lindsay, nice to see
I think so.
Thank you.
They're the best.
Likewise.
What's in front of
All right, I'm gonna, that's Lindsay.
What?
Lindsay.
Yep.
I'm Jim.
Jim, nice to meet you.
Here's the caramel one.
Lindsay, Jim's our neighbor.
Okay.
Like 2 doors down from me.
Wait, what is this? What's
Um,
this?
which
Orange
direction?
and this filling?
Yeah,
So like,
Interesting.
I want that. Is that this one?
toward like the,
Orange
the,
ones?
like,
I'm guessing.
hold this second.
oh, okay.
What's that word? Okay, sorry for that, guys.
What was your name?
I'm Casey.
Casey.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Jim.
Nice to meet
I got, I got the chocolate mousse.
Ooh.
Was it good?
It was good.
Describe it to me.
Smooth,
Delicious.
dark chocolatey with a hint of orange.
Is it unctuous?
Mm,
They always have.
that is some nice chocolate. It doesn't have that, some chocolate has that waxy grossness at the end. That's very good.
Yay.
I found Hershey's has that now. Like I can't.
The
eat it.
waxy.
Too waxy.
I don't like,
Agreed.
yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, I agree.
I've become a chocolate snob. in
Yep,
my old age.
yep.
If I have to eat it, which I will, it better be good and worth it.
I mean, you have to eat it, but it's,
Yeah, it's gotta be worth the zits
Exactly.
and the wait.
sorry, I'm just, logging on. Do you know, do you have one online?
Got Sam online.
Oh, just Sam.
Yeah, I'm online. I was just there for another meeting, but had to come back because Ari's up from a nap and Jen isn't making her way back from the office.
Isn't Ari now an honorary PROSAB member? Like, sorry.
Wow,
There
that
we
was a
go.
good one.
You did.
Oh, look, everyone.
There's
Sorry.
Yogurt.
There's the baby.
Hey, kiddo.
Sam's feed. All right. Oh,
She is so cute.
hello, my fellow PROSAB members.
Ari, do you want to take over chair responsibilities tonight? Can you talk yet?
Trying to groom my, next when I step down kind of thing.
Yeah,
Wow.
fair. That's what I'm doing with my granddaughter, future parks manager.
Yeah.
It's like 3, right? She could totally.
Yeah, she's got this. Any
All
day.
right. I call this meeting to order.
Sorry, I knew, I was like, I should at least grab that.
All right, so roll call first real quick.
Oh, sorry.
Exactly what I just did. Okay, Kat, here. Casey, here. Sam,
Here.
Lindsay, here. Who am I, CT,
Here?
Kate,
Here.
Jesse.
Nope.
What am I missing? Aren't I missing one?
Yourself?
Alex.
Let's see.
And there's Alex.
Wow, that was perfect timing. Here.
Really calling me?
Yeah.
We planned that. All right, and, welcome. I believe we don't have any members of the public online, but we do have one, here. So hi.
What's your last name for the minutes?
Navratil, Jim Navratil, Navratil.
Thank you.
Cool, we just have a little bit of business first and then we'll get to the public comment, shortly. So, yeah, so approval of minutes. Does anyone want to move to approve the minutes from November?
I move to approve the November 2023 minutes.
Second.
And I did actually have a edit to the minutes, so I don't.
Make a friendly amendment.
Yeah, so, okay, yeah, friendly amendment, which I emailed to Casey just for clarity, but was, just to clarify it was an informational housekeeping item about how we now have a standing agenda item to do short informational updates on each of our goals, but if people want to do discussions or action items, they still do need to submit an agenda request form. So if it's anything other than short informational, so just wanted to clarify that in the minutes. And it was also gonna clarify that anyway, so it worked well. Does anybody, how do friendly amendments, does
I think you
anybody?
just offer a friendly amendment, you have to accept it. And then you can
Accept.
vote.
Okay, then we can.
Voting time.
All right, so you accept, so do you wanna, motion again?
Motion to approve the accepted amended minutes.
Second.
Thanks, CT. Okay, Lindsay? Approve?
Yes.
Yeah, great, yeah. Sam?
Yes.
Got it.
Casey?
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
I almost just said Ariana on accident.
She's a yes.
CT?
Yes.
Kat? Yes. Fabulous. Thank you, friends. All right, so we will jump next to the public comment on non-agenda items and letters from the public. Jim, did you want to make a public comment? Or did you want to just listen?
I'm just listening.
Oh, great. Completely don't have to.
I'm invisible.
Respect.
Wait, who said that? Great. So then, are there any other people who would like to make public comment on non-agenda items, either online or in person? Wonderful. Thank you. So we did have one letter this month that came in just a couple of days ago. So in the interest of remembering to address the letters that came in, it was a letter from Tim Murphy about rink issues. So I will just mention it, make sure everyone's had a chance to read it. It's also linked in the agenda. And then just ask those who are more familiar with the topic if they'd like to just share. And if someone can like respond to Tim, I guess, but
Working on it.
great.
Do you wanna verbally review the issue?
You wanna pull up the letter, or should I just talk?
Yeah,
about what I-
so obviously Tim sent, so working on rink transition, so in previous meetings with the rink board, Tim Murphy is obviously a part of the rink board. There have been concerns about kind of the curb and how long we can continue to move the boards, right? We all know that's an issue. But now we really have a containment curb problem and that they're really struggling to keep water in. And so Tim has concerns. They're willing to spend the money, but I think there was a feeling at the time from tennis that like, don't put more money into this current design because there's a desire for, the new design. So how much money you want to put into something if the goal is to go for a grant for something different? And so I think it's kind of returning back to that conversation and discussion, but
And tennis was also very concerned that the pouring of the curb prohibits the tennis courts from being in that space without having a east to west configuration instead of the northwest configuration that they have now. And to Tim's point, he's right in some respects that we are losing thousands of gallons of water and thousands of gallons of or thousands of minutes and, dollars in staff time. We've been dumping water down for, probably 3 weeks now, and it's just leaking out. We've lost literally thousands of gallons, and now we're chipping ice because on the north side of the rink area, the water leaks under the gasket. The curb would eliminate that leak. It would keep the water into the space, but right now what we're also dealing with is the warm temperatures. And so normally when the water freezes, it's not leaking out. Well, right now we're not freezing solid, and so the water is just really leaking out. I have a problem with some of the verbiage that he used and some of the calling out. I don't think that's really necessary, but he does have a good point. It does need to happen. Moving the boards, you'll hear in my staff report is, it's dangerous. The doors are more than 600 pounds. This year we used 7 staff members on each set of doors to try and get those doors moved into place. And then, it's, it's dangerous work. It really is. And moving the fencing, I don't think I've ever been so tired in my life as I was on that day, moving the fencing. And, it took 4 of us to unwrap and unroll and to put up the fencing. And at the end, it was just 3 of us. And I literally had the hundreds of pounds of fencing resting on my back because I'd gotten so tired I couldn't hold it up in the air anymore. So moving the boards is not only dangerous, but it's also become a maintenance nightmare. We've put so many screw holes into those boards. Every time you move them, you have to take off the plastic, put it back, you have to screw the plastic back on. And you can never get the screw hole in the same spot. So.
Nikki, correct me if I'm wrong though, like there's nothing you can do about it right now. Like no one's going out there to pour a curb right now. So obviously this is once the transition happens again. And what I would say is Nikki and I met with a mediator yesterday. I don't know, I'll blend.
Lost.
But yesterday, I think, and our intention is at the first meeting with rink, tennis, pickleball, us being, when Alex comes as a representative. First session is mediation. And it's just to talk about this kind of calling out in the email. We sent it on to the mediator. He noted that it's a concern. Probably can't meet with the mediator until mid-February. And so we probably will push that first meeting we were gonna have with them, which was mid-January, out a month. I don't think it really makes or breaks anything. I mean, clearly tensions are high. And so the intention of the first meeting is to not even talk about the GoPro grant, but to talk about the situation. And the mediator will they'll call 2 representatives from rink. So we're recommending Lori and Tim, 2 representatives from pickleball tennis being Dallas and Darren. And then we'll call you, Alex, to want to just kind of talk and understand what your observations have been to date. And obviously met with me and Nikki already, and we gave our staff perspective.
You mean in advance of the meeting?
In advance of the meeting, to get kind of as much contextual information as possible.
Can I ask who the mediator is?
His name is Steve Charbonneau.
Good job.
Is he a lawyer?
He is a part of Community Mediation Concepts.
Cool.
And we have used him to mediate other town-related issues, and it seemed to work really well.
Awesome.
So he was happy to step in and will help navigate and recognizes that this is going, this historical challenges go well before all of our time. And so we really need to dig into kind of that old historical stuff, as well as how are we gonna move forward? So that's the intention. I plan to send out an email next week, letting them all know that we're gonna move the meeting back a little bit, our first meeting together, and that the mediator will be there. And I think that's a bit of our acknowledgement of Tim's email, is like, this is something we can discuss with a mediator present. Like, I don't think engaging, I think yes, we got your email, Tim. I think our response is going to be, hey, everyone, we got this email, and let's discuss it at our first meeting, potentially in February, and start to mediate through it.
But this is what you were planning, what he wants you to do is what you were planning to do before Dallas sent that note in the summer, just so I fully
Right.
understand.
We almost, in a perfect world, we would have poured the curb this summer.
Right, and then he spun up that.
Correct. So
And
then
then
it's like, okay, now what do we do, and so I think we're heading into yet another summer where, yes, a decision has to be made, and we of course have a grant, and of course they're gonna spend the money, but I think we just really need that mediator. I think that's, nothing's gonna move forward with all of this drama. It's so chaotic, as like, it's just never gonna work without putting in the time and energy to mediate between these groups.
Yeah.
I mean, we really feel like, we understand there's frustration as like, it's like town staff, and so we realize that, yes, there's a role we'll play, but in many ways, we kind of just want to step out and let them sort through this. I think the only role we really played is frustration that some groups have with us towards the grant, but town is not a part of the historical issues here, so.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think let's wrap that then, unless anyone has any like questions on this that you'd like to get answered before we move on.
Yeah, I think just don't expect a response until next week. We're not trying to leave Tim hanging, but we just want to get it nailed down on what day we'll do with the mediator, and then I'll respond to everyone.
And I'm on vacation.
And things on vacation.
Right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know, I was like, you're not wearing your own hat, so I had my suspicions. Thank you for being
Vacation
here.
mode.
Sorry.
Glutton for punishment.
At least you get oranges and.
Tell Miranda's off now till the end of January. Yeah, the chocolates and oranges help. Thank you. You want the list?
Yes, please. I like to be surprised.
You press.
Yeah. Like it comes with a little map. What am I doing?
Should I like the least?
So, but I think that's it. I think there was another nice FYI from Alan Apt about a climate related thing, but I don't think I think those are more just FYIs for us unless anyone wants to bring that up. But I think those are the only letters. I'm not missing. Okay, cool. All right, then let's move on to informational items. First up, as always, Nikki with her staff report.
All right. So the November 2023 staff report, park shifted focused preparations for the opening of the rink. A large amount of time was spent transitioning from tennis to pickleball back to the ice rink configuration. Parks received some much needed support from the utilities and streets department to do some of the heavier lifting. The doors and fencing, like I said, are incredibly heavy and dangerous to move. The boards have become so full of screw holes that they're nearly perforated and you feel guilty for putting another hole in it. It's bad. It's really bad. We look forward to the day when we have the funding to create the new tennis courts. This will allow the boards to stay in place, eliminating the hazard and maintenance nightmare of moving them. Meetings about GOCO funding for the facility are expected to resume in January, now February. So, and like I said, we are losing so much water and the warm temperatures. Normally our goal would be to be open. In fact, my goal was to be open by December 15th, but, that it doesn't even look like we're not gonna be open for Christmas. So super bummer, because the 22-23 season, we managed to keep the rink open later than it's ever been opened. And now we're looking at the 23-24 season. We can't get it open until later than it's ever been opened. The PROSAB master plan received a boost of support from the Colorado Tourism Office, offering to donate 8 hours, and it turns out it's more like 15 hours of their time, to assist us with outdoor recreation. Specifically chapter 4, and 3 and 4, so which is gonna help us dig into, and we'll see how far we can get. Amy Cassidy is the person who worked with us on the reimagined destinations. She is the one overseeing that program. We thought the best use of Amy's 8 hours we can get under the program would be to assist us with the PROST update, specifically chapter 4. And I said 5, but that's not correct. It's actually 3 and 4. This will be important help for this project as our plan was not selected by the capstone students for this semester. It could possibly be selected for the September semester, but that we're looking a little crunchy on our deadline to get that Postmaster update done by December 24. December 1st was the town's annual holiday lighting ceremony. Parks Department worked for more than a week on preparations around town. Utilities and streets donated some of their time to help us with the heavier lifting and turning the annex into the gingerbread house. Folks gathered at town hall for treats, hot cocoa, and a visit from Santa and Mrs. Claus and Murray the Yak. It was a beautiful but chilly night, highlighted by the sounds of a choir, Revelation 19 singing. After the countdown, the lights were turned on. Murray the Yak led a group of carolers down First Street and back to town hall. Many people stepped out of our local establishments and listened to the tunes of holiday cheer. It was really a sweet night because it kind of started lightly snowing and it was like I ordered it. And then-
Watch it on YouTube.
You can, it's had over 1,000 views. It's actually, yeah, it was really a sweet event. So I don't think any of you guys were there, but it was well attended and
Watch it on Facebook.
yeah. Now you can watch it on Facebook, so. And I think that is all I kind of, I'm really bumming right now about us not being able to get the rink open, but it's out of our hands. It's, nothing we can do. And then if you look at the temperatures and the cold weather, the next time we'll be able to put down water. It's supposed to be snowing and you can't do that. You can't do the two together, so. Trying, but I'm getting daily calls and daily emails from people offering to help or to volunteer or when's it gonna be open? It's constant. I wish I could give them an answer. I just don't have it, so. We're trying up against the weather.
Yeah, it's like primarily just because it's been so hot, right? Like it's just been.
The nighttime temperatures aren't even below, they're like 34,
Yeah.
32, so they're not even, nighttime temperatures aren't giving us that boost. 21 is the magic number, the rink, 21 and no snow.
21 degrees.
Wow.
And
It's so
it's,
warm.
it's really, it's like, I thought it was gonna be miserable and it was actually like, it's actually quite fun. You're out there in the dark and we always turn on the music at the rink and, it takes a couple hours and my team is so much fun right now. Oh, I did hire a new staff member. I should mention that it's not in my staff report because he just started, but, there's a guy named Ben Davis. I don't know if any of you know him, but he worked for Chris Brennan and for Native Edge for a long time. So I hired a new parks guy, and so hopefully that will help alleviate some of the stress off of Mark and Brian and myself soon. He's getting it quick, so hopefully.
And Brian's in CDL class and he takes his CDL exam tomorrow for a Class A CDL, so send him good vibes.
What is CDO?
Commercial driver's license.
All right.
Ah,
That's awesome.
So we put Brian through it because it will be beneficial to parks to be self-sufficient. If we need a load of dirt or something, we don't have to wait on the streets department to have streets bring us dirt or something like that. So Brian raised his hand and offered to do it for the Parks Department. And yep, he's been in training for 2 weeks. So I was training one new guy. One of my guys is out and it was really just me and Mark trying to hustle and get this stuff done. And then at the rink, we've got Scott Porter who's been helping, lay down water as often as we can anyway. So yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Nikki.
Sure.
Any other questions or anything before we move on?
I'm just curious if folks are reaching out at the rink, has there been any proactive messaging on when, like, plans for it to open or anything?
If you go to the town web, or if you go to the rink's website, I put up poems. Remember last year I was always writing poems. So right now it says, we're waiting for the weather to conform and
Yeah.
soon we'll see the crowds form.
Nice.
But I've tried, but there is no date, so I can't put up a date. Like it just,
Yeah.
we're just waiting. As soon as so I've got a schedule that I'm creating right now. I've got the schedule created. I just need to put it on the calendar and right now, if you look at the rink website, there's just nothing on the calendar, so. Soon.
Disco night was maybe on it though, but.
I took it off.
Okay.
I had to take it off. Yeah. We had planned to open the 15th, then I moved it to the 22nd, and now it's just up in the air. I quit trying. Fine.
Hopefully it'll cool down soon.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we move on? Great. Thank you, Nikki.
Mhm.
Okay, so the next thing under informational items is what we've just added as of last meeting. So, each of our 2023-24 goals, which soon will only be our 2024 goals, has like a bullet point if only if, there is a brief informational update, and that will be on here every meeting, just to keep us in the loop about what's happening on our different priority projects. Again, if you have like an actual discussion or anything more than just a couple of minute update, and definitely if you have an action item, you still have to submit an agenda request form, so people have like background and are prepared and that sort of thing, but this is gonna be on here every single month, just for any quick updates, that people might have. And I put the three, well, anyway, so I just put the things on here that are, on our priority list. I think Prost, should we skip that since that's actually on the agenda later?
That
Is
makes
cool?
sense,
Okay,
yeah.
great. And if you don't have an update, just say you don't have an update, totally fine. Volunteer program, Casey and Lindsay?
I have a quick update. So one, happy that Lindsay's gonna take over this priority with me. It's gonna be great. We haven't had a chance yet to meet, to kind of catch, her up to speed from the meeting that we had with Nikki, but we plan to do that, soon. And then I had actually spoken to Jesse, 2 weeks ago, and he had a question about, and Nikki, I emailed this to you, but it was only like a couple hours ago, so, and
Oh.
we're on vacation. So I didn't see it. But he had asked about whether there could be like any opportunity to do trail maintenance, as a part of a volunteer program, specifically, I guess, in the open space, like by the Caribou Room, so like Moose Meadows and, that's that, specifically that open space area. And so that was something that I said I'd bring to you and try to potentially incorporate into the volunteer program, but obviously wanted to get your thoughts first.
So I think it's a good idea to have a couple of days, at least this coming summer, where we do, some volunteer trail maintenance stuff. I don't want people building trails that are volunteers, but they could help, fill in potholes or, trim back the tree branches or whatever, things like that. So, if we can get a couple days, it's hard for me to plan too much, because I don't wanna overextend my team. And then we'll also have weed pulls and we'll have Lord knows what else. So, but yeah, I think it's a good idea to have a couple of different trail building events, or not building, trail maintenance events.
And is it right to assume that that type of volunteer activity should only be done under supervision of town park staff, right? I think,
Yep, that's why I don't wanna overcommit.
yeah, my guess is that might mean asynchronous volunteerism, and so it might be like just good to clarify.
I think we need to be very careful too with Moose Meadows, because the trails in Moose Meadows are social trails. They're
Yeah,
not
there are no
designated trails.
trails there.
There's nothing there. So I think if we go in and start creating trails in a place where we don't maybe know where we want the trails to be, maybe those social trails aren't exactly where they should be. Especially we know that the start is across private property.
Yep, off of Tejas Circle.
And so we need to move that start of that trail. So I think that Moose Meadows is kind of maybe not a great idea right now until we, as PROSAB and staff, try to figure out where exactly those trails should, if we're gonna put in established trails, maybe not necessarily maintained trails, but if we're gonna put in established trails, like maybe that needs to be vetted a little bit more with all of us.
There is a huge amount of work on that property that would greatly benefit from unskilled labor, just having at it. And I'd be happy to help participate with anyone that wanted to do
Awesome.
that work.
Awesome.
And get your approval first on any job that we're gonna do.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people in that area that would love to see that cleaned up a good deal,
Yep.
and, I'd be happy to help if you could put me in.
Yeah, we haven't done work in that area since 2015 or 2016
Mhm.
was the last time we came in and did a bunch of mitigation and stuff, so.
I was thinking this summer, maybe of doing an event, putting up the sign and being like, hey, this is a great opportunity for people, if you're interested in volunteering, to sign up.
So one of the things that happened last month is we had a group of kids come up from the city that did, a bunch of mitigation help around the rink.
It's great.
What would be very helpful for those kids is to have the piles of slash, the piles of logs. That way the kids can come in and just help me get the piles of slash to the trailer so we can get it to the sort yard, get the logs to the trailer so we can, get them to the side of the road or whatever we decide to do with the logs, if
Mhm.
people want to use them for their homes or whatnot, but, so that kind of work would be very helpful to have people to help, pile slash, and I gotta be careful with people using chainsaws on town land, but I think, Jesse was gonna try and work on bringing back the saws and slaws program.
Some kind of waiver would
Yeah.
be prudent.
Yep, which we do have.
As a visitor, can I say something?
Yeah, I think so.
I just wanted to say, up in Big Springs, the Reynolds Ranch, there's, nice trails up there. But trees are falling over, the one furthest down it has a rope climb.
Yeah,
It'd be nice to have a stairway put in.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Well, that a neighbor
It's
put
not
that
town.
in, so I wouldn't,
The rope?
yeah, a neighbor put that there for his wife.
Yeah.
It's also not. town
Someone's
limits,
also building like bike
unfortunately.
trails back there. They're going to town.
Are they really?
Yeah, oh yeah, all summer. Oh.
I think we did see some of that one on our walk.
Mhm.
We'll see what happens with the egress as well. But there are other spots in town where the trail is supposed to be, and, for instance, Tom Riley Park. The trail is supposed to come down from the elementary school and go through Tom Riley Park, where right now the trail dead ends at the road. That would be kind of a bigger project, but it is Tom Riley Park. And the trail is kind of established, but it's really just a straight down trail, so we could do something with that as well to try and get that trail a little bit more established for people and. So, yes. Done, summer,
Like, there's lots of opportunities, but TBD.
yeah,
So, yeah, that would be fun. And then, yeah, just to circle back, you mentioned the Reynolds Ranch. I think people are aware that's Boulder County open space, so, that was why we were mentioning it. But yeah, and I know Jim's been in touch with Boulder County about it, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is great,
Cool.
so.
it's just that there's a lot of nice homes right next to the ranch and all these dead trees and.
yeah, we went back there a couple months ago. We went back there a while ago, and just the amount of blowdown, we were with a couple of the fire department members were with us on that walk, and we kept saying to them, you poor guys, this is the stuff that nightmares are made of, and yeah, it's bad back there.
Yeah, it really is.
It is.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks for being a champion for getting that cleaned up. All right. Sam, are you there? Do you have any?
Yeah. Here.
Hi, do you have a brief update on the pump track for us this evening, or pass?
No, we've got a brief update. So we had I'll just read because Jesse did this work here for us. He got utility marks from Andrew that he was able to complete, and then he shot some video and dug a small pothole over the manhole on top of the raised area, and he found that the lid was 18 inches down on that. They checked the utility map, and they found that the pipe is 3.5 feet down from the manhole lid. And so we know now that we have like approximately 5 feet of cover layer over the pipe in that area. And so he's sending the draft plan over to Andrew for his input, and also to American Ramp Company. That was on December 18th, in the next day or two. So he's trying to get that over so that they know where those manhole covers are to update their design. That's kind of the outcome of it.
Thanks, Sam. Does
So-
anybody have questions?
Nick might have some clarifying information if if there's any questions about that stuff, she would know better.
Just to know where we're at, we're sending these designs with all the utility marks so they can redo the 2D design?
Correct.
Yes, exactly. So they can redo the 2D design in accordance with the exact manhole covers spacing.
And the 2D will come back to PROSAB. When you give the green light, then they'll move on to 3D.
Right.
Right.
So we still need to actually vote on that, but that's not gonna happen until next year. Correct?
That's right.
Correct. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, of course.
in absentia. Any other questions? Fabulous. The next is rink tennis. I think we've had the update on that, so, yes.
Just, really quick though, we did meet with the
Oh,
GoCo
yeah.
team.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually a good meeting. I think I didn't really have the energy to be like, you screwed us last time, so. I took a much nicer approach.
We were gonna be mean.
We were gonna be mean, but then I texted Nikki beforehand and I was like, I don't have the energy.
Like, fair enough.
And niceness is my default, and so we did have a good conversation. We did say, like, we want your confirmation, like, that we're good to go. And we showed them the survey question that said, if you could add anything else to this asset, what would it be? And we showed them the responses that said, we love the design you had. And so it was like, is this enough? And they basically said yes. And so obviously we want to go for cycle one, which would be probably end of July, beginning of August. And what we need to do between now and then is get all of the funding for the building, right? We have to come, but we said, if we come with full building, do we have to have any other match? And they said, no, the building itself could be our match, or we could seek complete funding for everything else. And that when we say everything else, that means a roof over the rink. That we can add a roof into the project and then seek full funding for it. We just have to come with the building. So after we mediate, and everyone likes each other again, we will have a meeting about maybe scaling back the building so that the building costs less. And then I think between our pledges, what town can bring, what the different entities can bring, we'll probably be in a better financial position to provide complete coverage financially of the building if we pull it down. And I think Nikki wants to go single story, you know, because you don't have to consider all the ADA complexities of 2 stories. So pull it down to single story, maybe scale it in a little bit, bring that cost down. And we think that, yes, we would be fine to say, we've got the pledges and the financial commitments for that to be our match. But, you know, I brought up, you know, that we did kind of the large scale ask and really just, I think I asked a few times, like, is this all, like, are we good? Like, are we good to apply? And left the meeting with, yes, you're on the right track. But they did say once rink opens, maybe throw up the design boards and ask people, like, when they rent their skates, or I don't know if you thought more about that, but, you know, hey, what do you think about this? And just
Yep.
keep going, keep asking,
Keep getting
keep
surveys.
saying.
Free hot cocoa if you take the survey.
You know, that's what they don't want to see, is us just saying, like, we did this, now we're stopping. They want to see that continuation up until grant application time, that we keep asking the questions. And so we do need to sit down with Peter and talk about kind of the relaunch of bringing this back online and saying, hey, I do think we need to sit down with those neighbors. They've reached out again, you probably haven't seen it. So I think we need to sit down with the neighbors. It's not like they're gonna have like an HOA neighborhood meeting. I think there's value in sitting in on one of those and doing, you know, we've had some people, the neighbors come out kind of in that last hour being like, whoa, wait a minute, what are you doing? So trying to get their buy-in earlier on. But we want to talk strategy, probably in March, we'll talk strategy for how to get kind of everything back on track.
That's the question. It's actually a double question. So, you mentioned a roof. Is the presumption that there will be a roof on rink now? I'm wondering if you guys could look, or we, any of us could, like, if there's maybe like climate change related funding that could be secured, because like
Good idea.
things not opening because it's
Yeah,
1,000,000 degrees
yeah,
outside, like,
absolutely.
um,
And also I think the roof would really alleviate some of the noise factor too. I
that
think
was my second question,
the-
was will that help with will that help alleviate some of the pickleball concern? I don't totally get how this all works, like,
So the roof will be high enough that theoretically tennis or pickleball wouldn't be affected by the roof, but at the same time, it might hold that noise down a little bit for the neighbors.
yeah.
So it could be a really, really good thing. It will be a really good thing. But, we actually went up there with a sound, decimeter. Decibel reader, decimeter. So we went up and actually turned on the radio to where the level is for disco night. And then kind of, you know, made sure that we were within the noise ordinance levels for the town and, you know, found where the line is, where we can't have it up that high or have to file for a noise permit, and then walked back to the back part of the property just to hear how loud it is for the neighbors, just to try and get some kind of I mean, cause I'm hearing the complaints, I just wanted to know what they're hearing. So, and I imagine they do get sick of the same disco tunes, for 3 months of the year. But, but so it's very, very good information, and I think a roof would really,
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously we'll bring PROSAB, of course, when we get back online, but I think step one, mediation.
yep.
I also wonder if some of the like stuff that might help insulate might also dampen sound. Like, I don't know much about that, but just thinking again, like the climate change stuff is just
Yeah.
really impacting the ability for this kind of recreation and maybe there's
Great idea.
So it's a good idea.
We also have, I don't wanna like give away secrets or anything, but
About to be recorded.
the Colorado Avalanche are bringing a couple of the players and Bernie the dog up on January 21st to do a tri hockey event. And I'm gonna schmooze all I can schmooze, and we'll name it the Nederland Avalanche rink, whatever we gotta do. If they'll, wanna pay for the building?
Yeah, we can have fun to schmooze and then go back and be like, and wouldn't it be, didn't you have fun? It wouldn't it be super cool if you pay for our building.
Yeah. And how about a museum pony? And
Yeah.
I also have a Kel McCarr signed autograph jersey, please. Season tickets for 5 years. Okay, I have a list, but still.
Yeah, please know, our intention is to go after that money after they.
Yeah.
come.
Absolutely.
Why not?
I felt like I needed to retire after I got that email.
I know, she did say that when she called me. I was like,
It's the
oh.
pinnacle of my career. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
Awesome.
It just give Nate McKinnon a hug.
Did you reach out to them or how did they?
They reached out to myself and NYHA asking if they could do an event.
Awesome.
So
Oh, that's so cool. So cool. Especially the dog park.
Murray the dog.
All right, shall we move on to discussion items? So tonight we have, and we can actually do these in any order. So when Miranda sent around the list of things that was coming up before the BOT, someone requested that she bring a discussion to share a bit more and take Q&A about the town budget and then the town tourism advisory board. So that's why those two are on here. So Miranda can just like fill us in and then do some Q&A, I guess. And then the Prost thing is after that.
So I'll just go in order that they're on. So first, the 2024 budget. So on November 20th, Governor Polis signed Senate Bill 23B-001 that provided additional property tax relief to residential properties. With the passing, this actually really impacted us because it meant that we couldn't budget appropriately with property tax figures. So we would have normally have passed the budget by now. We would have passed the budget last two nights ago. If not, beginning of December, we would have passed the budget, but now we have to hold. So we won't pass our budget until January 2nd. And so because of that, with the extension, we're still working on amending the budget. This has been, if you've followed any of our budgetary journey here, it's been quite the adventure. Obviously, the Board of Trustees did a compensation study. They increased staff to their minimum. That obviously had a huge financial impact on the budget for all the right reasons. But we had to really consider that going into this year. And I had warned the board when they passed those compensation studies that they were going to be pretty deep into the negative going into this next budget. One of our first rounds, we brought a budget that was almost negative $400,000. Just a reminder, we operate in $3.5 million in savings. So it's not like we couldn't live that, but that's not great fiscal management to be almost $500,000 in the negative. So the board pushed on, or not even before we got to the board, we realized that we have to get super creative in how we come up with revenue that wasn't going to involve going to taxpayers and asking for any sort of increases. So kudos to town staff. They came up with over $500,000 in alternative revenue streams, ranging everywhere from additional speeding tickets, which I'll get to in a second, paid parking, a permit and sustainability fee, charging for EV chargers. I know I'm forgetting some things, but a variety of different venues. We did originally do speed cameras, but the board said no.
Yep.
But we, in essence, we brought anything and everything we could possibly think of to the board. And the town staff had really never done that. We'd never been pushed to have to do that. And so I'm really proud of the work that everyone did to just get creative and revenue. Ultimately, as of 2 nights ago, we were able to get it down from about negative 400,000 to negative 180. So that was some serious work went into that. But one of the last things that we discussed is speeding tickets. If you have been around town, you've seen our officers are everywhere. They're everywhere just in general. But the officers did say to the board, we can have extra duty shifts that are just dedicated to traffic enforcement, which means that we would be paying for officers to come up to do 4-hour shifts to just purely write tickets. And the Board of Trustees 2 nights ago opted to go forward with that. So what will happen is you'll have your regular, what I call Nederland Boulder County officers, who will also write tickets still, as well as dedicated officers, at least minimum of, ideally around 15 days a month, who are here just purely to write tickets. Officers typically in their shifts write 2 tickets per hour. So you're seeing about, potentially 8 tickets a shift. We're kind of trending on that. It has obviously a dual role, right? We understand there's a revenue component here and it's a safety component. Some fascinating data we were asked to pull is the average tickets written of, going down the canyon or up the canyon in that 25 is 45 miles per hour to 25. That's the average that people are driving. They actually caught a guy the other day going 78 in a 25. So, yes, there's a revenue component and there's a safety component. So I keep joking. I said, don't speed or do speed because we'll take your revenue. Speed. Whatever you decide. But they're everywhere. They're going to be everywhere. They will be out and about. They already are. We already tested it to see if officers even wanted to sign up for it because we were having troubles with kind of our larger shifts. And it's apparently very popular. So we are seeing officers sign up for the shift. So lots of officers. I went to the substation today. There were 5 officers in there, and I was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah.
Lots of officers. The other thing is, when we signed on with Boulder County, I strongly advocated against animal control. I didn't feel like it was worth the necessary expense because we don't see a lot of animal control calls. However, when we get animal control calls, they're so complex in figuring out how to truly manage them because code enforcement will only manage to a certain level. They're not going to get involved in kind of these vicious dog situations, and Boulder County won't get involved unless it's criminal in nature. So there's this gap where when people are having a moment of crisis related to animals, nobody can do anything. And so really realizing that, when someone's having this really traumatic situation, potentially with an animal, and there's nobody can do anything for that person, and they're like leaving a voicemail for code enforcement, just not really how we want to approach this with our community. So while I do still think we don't see a lot of animal calls, I think it is worth the $23,000 for a .2 animal control officer so that people get the appropriate responses for animal control. That was everything's controversial, but that was controversial last night. I think some people are we don't want more enforcement. Other people understood kind of the sentiment I was saying is like, if you have a dog at large and they're being aggressive and that moment of need, you want to know that someone's going to show up for you, and not being able to provide that right now is I think scary for people. So ultimately not a unanimous vote, but a majority nodded to continue forward with adding in animal control. The other thing we talked about on Tuesday is a really cool SAB program. They were contacted by CarShare Colorado to get an EV vehicle that'll be parked in the visitor center lot that you can rent. If you're an eligible driver under their program, you obviously pay for it, but you can come to the visitor center, you'll get a key or like a pin, you'll get access to the vehicle. The program typically costs $50,000 and we're able to do it under a year pilot for $6,000. So the question before the board though is, because we're going to start charging for the EVs, are they comfortable taking one of the chargers offline because this car is going to charge intermittently and not seek revenue, and ultimately felt like this is an incredible program for our community, especially for those who don't have access to a vehicle or need, just the kind of that supplemental support. They can rent this, and it'll be an all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive vehicle with a ski rack. Sorry. So that was the thing, and the EV chargers are complicated. We have level 2s there now. We're hoping to install level 3s next year. Learned from Excel that they didn't install the right electrical for the chargers we have. So now we have to wait 9 to 12 months for them to upgrade the transformer to install level 3 chargers.
Is that gonna mess up our grant?
We're hoping, so yes, it could, but per Excel, we've asked for an extension on the grant. We've already asked for an extension. We haven't been paid back for these chargers yet. And you have to get them online with data reading in order to get money back. And we were supposed to have them installed by June. So now waiting 12 months could hurt us. And then the repercussion of that is that town could have to absorb the cost of the EV chargers. The other side of it, though, the board asked me, well, why can't we just update the transformer ourselves? You have to break our contract with Excel at $119,000 to break it. So it's a kind of a lose-lose. So it's the only way, so our hope is that Charge Ahead will give us the money later than anticipated, and Excel will update for free, but it just means we don't have the level 3s anytime soon. So that's the budget. And I told the board when we left the other night, we are passing it on the 2nd. There's no more debating. We're passing this thing. So I hope that we can stick to that because it's time. It's time to pass probably the most complicated budget I have worked on in my time here.
Can I ask a really quick question, just not
Yeah.
related to the budget, I'm sorry, but how does have the free charging at the level 2 chargers, who funds that, or how, does the town pay for that?
So the town pays for the electric, they pay for the energy. And so most people charge for EVs, just town had never gotten on board with that. So they're gonna charge per kilowatt hour at 40 cents a kilowatt hour for level 2s, and then 50 cents when the level 3s come online. The estimated revenue from just the level 2s, even taking one charger offline, is $52,000. So you bring both of them on, the board had to decide, were they willing to go from 114 to 52 because of the car share, and they said yes. So that's the budget. Any other questions? There's plenty, there's, in the link, in the AIM, there are plenty of YouTube videos to watch here.
So
So motivated.
we're still 400K in the hole with this budget?
No, we're at 180. We always budget in the negative, just so you know. It's just like
Sure,
government fiscal
sure.
management. But we never end up in the negative. We
Okay.
always, I would say, even though we budget as staff, we're very fiscally conservative. We don't spend money we don't have to. If it doesn't work out to do a program, we're not going to. However, and I say this and then someone always quits, we're fully staffed for the first time. With the hire of Ben, we're fully staffed for the first time really ever. We were fully staffed for like a day. We're fully staffed for the first time ever, where historically we've always had salary savings.
Uh-huh.
We won't, assuming life stays good, we won't have salary savings next year. So it's gonna be a lot of ownership on department heads to be very in line with budget. There's no wiggle room to go over on a certain line item and under on another. They've got to stay very, very, very fiscally conservative, which I know they can do, but it'll be a tight financial year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so then the Tourism Advisory Board. So some of you may recall, we did a Reimagine Destinations program in 2022, where one of the outcomes of that was to do a Tourism Advisory Board subcommittee under PROSAB. We had brought it to you, talked about it. I think at the time you all were like, okay, it was like no one was overly enthusiastic. And so when we started Destination Blueprints, which is our new Colorado Tourism Office program, we started talking about this today and just said like, yes, we want a PROSAB member on it, but tourism is not just about recreational tourism. Like tourism management for the town is so much broader than that. And so it really doesn't make sense for it to sit as a subcommittee of PROSAB. It makes sense to go be its own board all by itself. So the intention was to propose this on the 19th. But we spent 3 hours between housing the budget and we didn't get to it. So this is gonna move forward in February, but in pulling the board, they seem to be really interested. Obviously, we created a public engagement manager position who's half their job, Peter's job, is tourism management. And like Nikki, there's value in being surrounded by a team of volunteers who can support the initiatives you're working on. So really hopeful that the board votes to approve the Tourism Advisory Board, called the TAB. The TAB would have members of 6 groups. It would be a Board of Trustee liaison, a member of PROSAB, and I believe Sam had offered back in the day to maybe serve, but you'd have to decide. Someone from the local tourism.
On the table.
Right. Someone from the local tourism businesses, a local nonprofit, event producers, Nederland resident, youth, and then of course an alternate. Like every board and commission, we would recommend that people apply. They would indicate what kind of group they belonged to, and then the board would ultimately form that advisory board of 8. So if the board says yes to us in February, we hope to bring that board, new board online probably May. We've already drafted the bylaws for it. So it's just a matter of getting it approved, recruiting, and then building it.
Sweet.
Questions about that?
Quickly, would it just be kind of be like, I guess I could ask for a copy of like the proposed bylaws, but kind of just building off of like reimagined destination and the destination blueprint and some of the current stuff that's happening and for them to just play a more active role in some of that stuff that you've been working on?
Yeah, it's really focused on tourism management. So what we said here is that the tab will advise the Board of Trustees on all issues pertaining to the development, management, and promotion of tourism that considers the community's cultural, social, and environmental values, creates inclusive and enriching experiences for visitors, protects the environment, and benefits residents' quality of life. We actually took PROSAB's bylaws and then we changed it slightly. So kudos to you all for having great bylaws. Yeah, I mean, that's really the point is we're focusing and we talked so much about tourism management under the branding, creative identity, reimagined destination, destination blueprint, all of this work we're doing. And yet it's a team of Peter and I'm his sidekick. Like he really needs a board like you all surround Nikki. Like he really needs that support and that guidance and some of the feedback off of. And it just didn't, the subcommittee just did not make sense. So that's why we're asking for a full board to be developed.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I totally think it's a smart move to make it a full board. I think having it be like an offshoot of PROSAB never sat right with me personally.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that's nice to kind of revisit that with CTO and just realize that, the board seems very supportive. We just couldn't get to it.
yeah.
They're a chatty group, so. So the last one, Nikki already talked about the pros a little bit, but I guess I'll kind of continue. So we have a very robust relationship with the Colorado Tourism Office now, and they have a outdoor recreation technical assistance program. So I reached out and was like, how can you help us? And in talking to them, we happened to get on the post and I had mentioned that, we're trying to tackle it internally. We don't have funding. And Amy Cassidy was like, that's the perfect place for me to put my time. She actually has a background in developing like tourism management, outdoor recreational plans, management plans, asset plans. So she will be assisting us with chapters 3 and 4. Originally was 8 hours, but she said more is available. So her plan right now is to tackle a review and an update of 3 and 4. Kat shared with Sam some of all of the access to survey data. So she's doing her necessary evaluation, which means we're all kind of on standby, your post update team. We're gonna let Amy do her thing and get back to us at the end of January to review her recommended edits. And then kind of bring this back to you in February. So you probably won't see a post update from us next month. So we're delayed slightly, but as you'll see in my aim, still set to finalize by December. We're spending a little bit more time on chapters 3 and 4 with the help of CTO.
I'm sorry, I told everyone to read chapter 4 in my email.
And I saw that, but I was like, don't worry, we'll send a name saying, don't read it. There's nothing to read. It looks really terrible on the Google Drive. No, really excited for Amy's help. And the great thing is Amy did our whole Reimagined Destinations program. Like she knows Nederland. We spent 1.5 years working with her. She understands what we're kind of navigating and seems very comfortable and confident being able to take on 3 and 4. And if you remember, we started 3, but what was missing was some of that survey data and analysis. And number 4 is that assets. And what's cool is she's gonna write a narrative about the assets in a way of like encourage you to go visit instead of being like Mud Lake is located like super dry like it is now. Like she's really gonna jazz it up so that it just kind of reads as this like, wow, I want to go visit, right? And then later under kind of the tourism banner, we can use some of this narrative and some of this language to maybe promote certain assets if that's what we choose to do. Not of course require, but just something that gives us the tools to be able to celebrate these amazing recreational opportunities or parks and open space with residents and visitors alike. Sweet. So this was nice because we didn't get the students, as Nikki noted. So having CTO instead is a great benefit.
I have a question. Well, what is it that she would be doing in terms of technical support?
So that is it. She's gonna write, she's gonna do the data analysis for the surveys and draft what's missing in chapter 3 and rewrite pretty much all of chapter 4.
So in terms of like surveys, then like, would she be conducting additional?
Nope, we're
So-
pulling those from other plans, things that we have.
I think you sent Sam a link to,
Yeah, the stuff that PROSAB did in
Yep.
2021.
she's gonna like
Two?
synthesize all of that and like pull it all together. And then I gave her access to the Google survey we just did. But no, she's not gonna do any new ones. She's just gonna do data analysis.
Is the plan then to do that else, like in a different way, like to do outreach to the, like, cause we had talked a couple meetings ago about, you know, reaching out to the town more broadly to find out like what, you know, recreation assets are most important, like stuff that was done before the pros last time, but like updating that.
So we did do that under the rink survey.
And we'll
Question number
continue.
2 under the rink survey was, if you could have any, anything in town, what would you want?
Yeah, no, I know, but I think like, I was hoping at least like, and you know, curious if other people are feeling similarly, but I was hoping like something a bit more like shared more broadly with more people across the town, and that doesn't come from like the rink perspective, but like, I remember when I first moved here, it was right before the last post was done, and I filled out a survey that was like, that the results are in the 2013 post, right? Like, kind of what do you want most? And like, there was like 15 different things ranked, and there's a bunch of questions about like, you know, do you feel like trails are good or that sort of thing? And I know we're like under-resourced for this particular update, but I do think it's worth thinking about how to do like a broad, in addition, because like the PROSAB before most people here were on it, and when I just started, did a ton of charrettes that like CT was part of, and Sam, and there's lots of great information there. But like,
That was my understanding though, is that because it had already been done, that we were just gonna, and perhaps I was totally off base, but I thought we were, because we had already done it under charrettes, we were just gonna use the data that already exists, because we don't really have the time.
Yeah.
Especially with the rink coming back online, we don't really have the time to.
the PROSAB, the charrettes it was almost entirely about the trail system.
Sure.
So there's no recreation in there.
We got a lot of information, I would say, from those charrettes, and that information all went into the previous capstone student project.
Yeah.
Which, so chapter 5, current roast is all about the Gateway Master Plan, Gateway Park. Now we're gonna pull that and put in what the work the students did from before it was. So,
Yeah, no, I think there's a ton of great information. I don't know that like trails and connectivity and accessibility probably need to be done over again, since that was done so thoroughly. But I think my concern is more like a lot of the, you know, conversation about like various things like rink and like pump track is like, you know, a lot of people seem to want to have their voices heard when it comes to what recreation assets specifically. And I do think it's like worth updating that, since the one in the 2013 PROS is pretty old, to see like is, you know, and I think the pool was number 1 there, which isn't like on our list currently, but who knows, that may have changed.
that's
So-
definitely in the new rink survey, question 2, we got some, so we had people saying a pool.
Yep.
And we're gonna continue to push that survey out, like I said, offering a free hot chocolate if they fill out the survey. And then Peter can put it back up on the website and we'll get it rolling again.
Yeah,
So
maybe that's all that needs to
We'll
happen is.
Are you okay that it has the rink question too, or are you wanting this to get entirely separated out?
I mean, I think that if it's for the whole like Parks and Rec master plan, then just a question of like, you know, what are your top 3, like, if you could choose like 3 recreation assets for town to, and I don't know if you want to do a separate one for like update versus create or something, but like a simple, like super simple question, but yeah, I think separate from rink, because I think it would be good to get it out to a broader swath of people and not have it like, because rink is happening, right? Like,
Yeah, my only concern is we don't have Amy for very long, and so then we're having her synthesize data that then would be modified data later. That would be my only concern, is like, we get her to
we're in a
like,
time crunch.
yeah, like end of February.
yeah, I don't know if she would need to dig into it. I think something set up appropriately could be pretty easily like quantified and synthesized, but I don't know. I'm curious what other people think. I thought this was definitely part of the plan, so that's why I was like asking about it, but I think it's really important to ask people in town what they want in terms of recreation
Yeah, we
assets.
definitely didn't build it into the timeline.
Yeah.
So as I understand it, I mean, I don't think these two things have to move together, like the whole point of updating the PROST is an updated PROST within the past 10 years is a prerequisite to getting certain funding. So it's like serving a purpose, but I don't know if like it's also a static document, like this one wasn't updated since 2013. So I don't know if like the PROST is the best repository for like gathering the moving will of the town. Like, I'm not sure the two, like the PROST is more like a 10-year outlook. And if we want to take the pulse of the town in order to drive PROSAB's priorities, I think those two things don't necessarily need to happen together, is my 2 cents. But, and just because it happened together before, doesn't, so.
This,
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe, as you were saying that though, I was thinking like, the comp plan's gonna capture that information.
that's true.
And I would rather let the comp, because from a capacity standpoint, I'm like, I personally can't run another survey, like knowing that Ring's gonna come back on and all those things. I think, let's talk to SC group under the comp plan and have them do it.
That seems smart.
Yeah,
Yeah, cause they're gonna have to do it.
they're
anyway.
paid.
Just because we're doing a pros update does not mean they're not gonna have a recreational component, because they know that we're doing it internally. Like, what they're not gonna do is multimodal and housing, because that was done by someone else. But they're definitely gonna integrate parks, trails, and they're going to collect feedback. Yeah, I think that's, if
Yeah.
you're comfortable, that's, I think, the avenue we do it under.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, I definitely am curious what other people think too, but I think we have a ton of great information about like the trails and stuff. It was just more like I think it's been a while since we asked people like recreation assets wise, like what do you actually want
Yeah.
as opposed to, so,
Voting on Barker's still a thing.
yeah,
Right,
right?
yeah,
I
think
know.
SC group is planning
Yeah.
to integrate it into their survey, actually, and so we can just make sure, to your point, make sure that it's really hitting and it probably actually will hit the recreation more so, because multimodal transportation plan also hit the trails again.
Right.
The trails have been well done. Yeah, how about, can we get back to you just with that confirmation? Get back to all of you, just with that confirmation that SC group intends to survey
Sorry.
data.
When is that happening, the survey, or when is their work for the?
You know, they're planning to do an open house on January 23rd. Some details still need to be worked out, and then a survey will launch probably right before or at that open house. But they'll be soliciting feedback for 6+ a long
That's
time.
great.
So is it kind of on the same timeline as the PROST update then, or a little bit behind?
Agenda.
It's a little behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Maureen.
Would this data be fed then to Amy as well? Or would it be synthesized later? Would it be?
I think we'd have to handle it later, because we
TBD.
just don't have it being very, very long.
Okay.
I mean, now, it's not saying that it's not possible to request from CTO a continued support. Amy said that's possible, but that could stay. I think we'd have to know, like, really, like, what's the scope we're asking of Amy? She did seem confident that maybe she could continue with us for quite a while, but there's no guarantee. Right now, all we're guaranteed is like the 15 hours.
And I think we can like, we could also add it in, at, like, I think
Yeah.
what I'm envisioning in my head is very similar to what was in the 2013 PROS, which is a very like, it's like one chart, right? It's not like a full bunch of data or maybe 2 charts, but
Yeah.
like something that could be added later or updated or what have you.
For what it's worth, Kat, I
I'm allergic to dust.
counter Alex and I totally agree that I think now is a good time to have it be a part of it's a master plan. So I think it makes a lot of sense to have like a baseline survey from the community on what the vision is collectively. And so I think I like this idea a lot. If it's possible, I think it should be a part of the PROST.
Yeah, no,
Mic drop.
yeah, and I would just say that I agree. I totally agree.
Mhm.
And I'm like, the thought of running a survey internally just sounds like a lot right now. And maybe it's just because it's right now, perhaps ask us in a couple months, but I'm just feeling like it's a lot. Just because of how much energy had to go into rink stuff, like we had to control that whole situation. And if maybe those entities will show up in a different way, perhaps that won't be such a heavy lift for staff, but that was a heavy lift.
Yeah, it is. Ooh.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me add.
Like you check with those
Mhm.
folks, we circle back in January.
I would help. I don't know how I could help or how we could help, but I would help too. I,
Help like analyze the data and stuff.
yeah, or whatever you need, like,
Great.
I would love to help.
Yeah.
Well, when does the farmer's market start back up? Just curious. Is like,
May 12th is our first one. We'll start doing applications in like February.
okay.
So I'll start doing more of that stuff.
Yeah, just wondering if like it could be some sort, I don't know, like volunteer thing for a couple weekends, like to do like what they did, what did for the rink and like having.
For the
Like
trails.
have a booth. and
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
some.
Yeah, we still have all the maps. We still have all the maps and all
Yeah, I
the.
mean, that's
post
what
boards.
the PROSAB did for like the trail system for, I mean, it was more than just the farmer's market, like CT was at
Mhm.
Enchanted Forest and someone went to the food pantry, I can't remember who that was. Yeah, you went to it, so there's like such good information in there. But I think, yeah, just adding some recreation.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think like, I don't wanna speak for the board, but I think like it sounds like we may have some like volunteer time that could take, so it wouldn't be quite so.
Yeah.
Great.
Right, it wouldn't be like, here, you have to just figure this out with all your extra.
Thanks. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be helpful. Let me find out, yeah, I'll find out from SC Group, and maybe I'll just send a quick update instead of waiting, because I know they're gonna meet before your next meeting. So SC Group's gonna launch. So I think making sure that we feel like they've got the necessary parks components.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we could come up with the questions, do the data analysis. I think just pushing it out to the public and advertising it would be the biggest help from town.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right, we have a robust social media structure already going for the comp plan. So if we can just sneak it in there.
Yeah, well, and when we have a structure we could start with too, because I think what they did 10 years ago was pretty good.
Yeah.
So
So do we have access to that?
the results are in the post. I don't know if we have like the,
They did it.
How they do.
We don't even have a Word version of the pro, so probably later.
right?
With the 2030 thing,
You know, there's not survey, there's information. I should probably send that to her, the Envision folder. There wasn't survey. No.
No.
okay, but
No
still
is the
send it
answer.
to her.
Yes, I will send it to her.
Yeah.
That was done by a small intimate group
I know,
of
yeah.
3 who like came up with stuff, but
But
survey
there's
didn't.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
Envision to end.
Tim, did you want to say something?
Well, I just wanted to say, as far as recreation goes, thing I'd like to see is, these things you pull.
Slot machines.
That was like adult, like workout.
That's what I was thinking is that. Oh, no, just throwing it. That's fine.
And I need to put money in.
Yeah.
I'll take their money.
Win money, or get, revenue stream.
There we go.
No.
Slippery slope, all right.
Never mind.
Yeah.
15 minutes south, it's fine. Just keep going.
But yeah,
Get
just
there.
Claire, totally appreciate that you all have tons on your plate. So I do think like you
Charming
don't,
place it
like
is.
to the extent, like I'm happy
For
to
sure.
also help, like, you know,
Yeah.
look at questions or whatever. So I think like maybe check with them, but then, yeah, let us know. And you could just be like, you guys figure it out. And, you know, like,
Fine by
Fair
us.
enough.
2024 is the year of delegation.
That's it.
Sign it.
That's it. Sit passing the buck.
Yeah, we're like, all right, we'll do it. So, yeah, happy to, I'll just send a follow-up after I chat with SE Group.
cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I have something.
Going to other business.
Are we going to other business? Are we
Oh.
there? Well, no.
Yes, because we have no action items. So other business.
All right, I am theoretically, I'm way over what I can carry over in PTO. And so I'm trying to take as much time off as I can, just flexing out time, leaving early, coming in late, that kind of stuff. But I'm hard off between the 18th and 20th of January for my birthday. So I don't know if we want to,
That's a PROSAB meeting though, which means you're either rolling without or.
which I don't like, the idea of you guys rolling without me, go rogue. So,
In the past, and it all went.
Flip the
it
table.
went haywire and we had to
No,
refill.
I don't want it to that.
I was
So-
sitting there being like, where is the sewer on the map?
Oh my God.
He's like, send me a picture.
Oh my God.
Should we,
So
the
I,
thought was to- I forgot we were talking about.
yeah, if
The thought
we
was
could
to
move it, that would be most excellent. Or honestly, don't put anything on the agenda in January that you're gonna, no action items.
But if you-
Don't talk
if
about
you
stuff in January.
don't do anything?
We'll go up a week and go to the 11th, and I know that you'll see GoCo on your calendar, but we'll end up moving that one.
Yeah.
So.
That works.
I'm fine with that.
move it
Yeah.
up.
And there was no pros considerations because we're not doing our pros in January.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if people like Thursday, the 11th.
I might have a conflict. Is that the Thursday prior?
Yeah.
Yeah. I might have a conflict. That's okay. I don't wanna hold everyone up on me.
I can make it.
That's fine with me. Just chime in over here.
You okay, Lindsay?
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure,
Okay.
so.
Okay, I will amend it then.
Thank you. That is my only other business.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's 49.
Don't forget to drop gifts off at, where do you want them dropped off?
Where do you want gifts dropped off?
That's right, I take cash donations. That's it.
And speaking of
Oh,
other
yeah, yeah.
business,
What is this?
maybe it's an early birthday gift.
PROSAB coordinated by Miranda for a bench at Barker Meadows in honor of your.
Oh
completion of it.
Oh my gosh.
Needs to go on the bench at Barker Meadows.
That is
I wish
like.
we could have hung it without your help.
You have to give it to you so you can hang it yourself.
Oh my gosh. I am literally this.
Lots of gratitude.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You should read it.
Nikki Dunn, Town of Nederland Parks Manager and Queen of Parks, and the entire Parks team. Congratulations on completion of Barker Meadows with gratitude, PROSAB 2023. Oh my gosh, this is the sweetest, coolest thing I have ever got, I think, in my life. I'm immortalized. So whatever bench I put it on cannot be adopted for life.
No, first for life. They
Oh.
filled out the form. They did all the right things.
Good job.
Alex filled out the form.
Good
It's
job.
all legit.
I
only coordinate.
I can't believe this is like the coolest thing ever. I can't have a plot in the cemetery, but I can have a plaque on a bench.
But once you put it up, will you please have Peter or get a picture?
Oh my gosh. And you spelled my name right. That means so much.
It's important. But
You did, right?
Oh my gosh, that is just the coolest thing. That is the coolest thing. Oh my gosh. I'm like literally, I'm gonna go home and cry my eyes out. A little baby. Oh my gosh.
That's the best other business ever.
absolutely.
Really, really cool. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah, I gotta take a picture. I gotta send this to
Yes,
my
congratulations.
people.
Yeah, I need to take it for the whole team.
Alright. Oh my gosh.
All right.
I always wanted this. I always wanted this or something like
You're giving
this.
more reasons to retire, Steph.
I know.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right, Nikki, just settle down over there, okay?
Don't say that.
On the
Give me that
recorder.
plaque.
Right, is there-
It's conditions. We didn't talk about the conditions.
All right, anyone want to move to
That's the coolest
Motion
thing.
to adjourn.
Second.
adjourn?
Wow.
Wow. Unadjourned, sorry, real quick.
I'm sorry, I'm on the board of a veteran area seniors.
Oh,
And I-
wonderful.
I came up with the idea of
Terribly sorry. I have to go.
next,
All right. Good night, CT.
ICT.
of next summer, possibly having a classic car show. So I'm trying to get the
Super
information
cool.
together. And I'm gonna contact the classic car clubs, but the big thing is where to have it in town.
Right. I would recommend Chapita Park parking lot. Cause there's restrooms there and all the facilities and you can have picnic tables and if people wanted to have a picnic or whatnot. If the cars are not really wanting to do it on a dirt parking lot, then the only option we have is BMF. So you'd have to get a hold of Tebow for that one.
For visitor center.
Visitor center, we've closed visitor center parking lot for art fairs and things like that in the past, so we've got options.
Okay, yeah, the ideal place I thought would be in the park, but in the grass area for the cars.
Oh,
Because you need a parking lot for the attendees.
right.
And the question is whether these classic cars can be, there's a big boulder you'd have to move so they
Yep.
can get in there.
Driving on the grass is really it's very tricky and there's a lot of sprinkler heads and if we, depending on the weight of the vehicle, we don't want to park them on the sprinkler lines. Is it doable? Probably, yeah. I think so. I think it'd be really cool. Very cool. We could definitely park them in the basketball court side.
Yeah, because we're talking about like 30 or 40 cars,
Oh, that's cool.
we hope.
So if we did a few of them in the big grass field and then the majority of them out by the basketball court in that area, I think we can make it work. Done weirder things.
Why don't you two can connect and, yeah, let us know what happens for sure.
Definitely. Can you give him my email?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will.
Or contact phone number, whatever.
All right. Now meeting adjourned?
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned.
According to the pen. Oh
Thanks,
my
everybody.
gosh.
Christmas miracle.
Bye, everybody online.
Incredible.
Hey, you know what I was